It is such a beautiful, tremendous place. We're so fortunate to have all this in our backyard. The mountains, the forests. It's awesome, but you have to respect it too.
It really was like turning a light switch on, and we went from cold but reasonable conditions to, nearly hurricane force winds in the flash of a moment or two.
James Osborne and a friend headed out for a day hike in New Hampshire's mountains. By the time James's hike was over, he had spent an unplanned and frigid night in the outdoors and barely escaped with his life. James knows now what he didn't know then, and what so many hikers have yet to learn, that an adventure in New Hampshire's woods and mountains demands special preparation and care.
I was not hiking the presidentials. I thought those were for very experienced hikers or people in groups, all right. But I did hike in the Pemigewasset Wilderness, and I probably should have been alerted by the name. I mean, wilderness is wilderness. But I thought with a 3,000-foot Attitash Mountain and 2,800 Little Attitash or whatever, that I'd be fine.
Ted O'Brien headed out for a day hike. He lost the trail and instead of backtracking, forged on until he was really lost. 2 days later, he finally came upon a trail he could follow out. He was lucky.
It was a rainy day and it was going to be a day hike, and we started pretty early, about 8 o'clock or so in the morning.
When the forecast called for rain, Monica Trust and her friend weren't deterred.
I knew that it was going to rain, and I knew that it was cloudy and dark. However, I had hiked Owl's Head 3 or 4 times. I had done it all in the rain, all the times that I've hiked it.
But things did not go as planned. James, Ted, Monica, and many others have learned the hard way. Hiking is fun, but it can be serious too. If you're aware of the challenges and act accordingly, you can hike safe. Know what you're getting into and have the right clothing and gear.
When we left, we felt that we were prepared for the hike. As the conditions changed, it became pretty apparent that we were not prepared. We did not have some essential items that every hiker should have.
My problem was that I was totally unprepared for an overnight stay in those woods. Even though, I'd given passing reference to the little signs at the beginning, but you never figure. I figured it was just a hike in the woods.
The river conditions did surprise me a bit, because I had done that hike several times before in the rain, and I didn't expect the river to be that high.
The clothing we had was appropriate for being out in a winter hike. It was not appropriate for being out in a winter hike with 70-mile-an-hour winds.
I had no compass, I had no map, I had no matches, I had no knife. I look back on it now and I say, how clueless can you be?
Be sure to leave detailed hiking plans with someone reliable.
We had a couple friends that knew our basic itinerary, but they did not know the details, such as what time we were leaving and when to expect us back.
Be sure to stay together.
We had never considered splitting up. One of the rules in hiking is to hike together from beginning to end.
Be willing to turn back if the going gets too tough.
We certainly underestimated what the weather could do and the impact the weather could have on our hike, and we probably also overestimated our abilities as hikers.
We should have probably turned back a lot sooner.
And be prepared for emergencies.
If it's a hike in anything but a road, I don't go alone. I go with somebody. And I carry with me all the things you need in case you're caught out at night.
Hiking is safe if you are prepared and if you know the trails, if you know that the weather changes. You need to be prepared mentally and physically, and have the proper gear. Without the proper gear, things can turn very ugly very quickly.
The result of this hike was that Fred succumbed to the elements and died on top of Haystack Mountain. I lost my lower right leg, most of my left foot, and my right pinky.
Spread the word. Share what you know about hiking safety with others.
As you set out, I think that it's important to remember that conditions can change, And in the back of your mind, you should always have a plan for what to do if those conditions change. I think that had Fred and I anticipated the weather that was forecasted, we could have made some better choices in terms of turning back sooner.
One of the lessons I learned is that nature is utterly indifferent to outcomes.
Some hikes result in trouble on the trail and worry at home, but they don't have to. You're a hiker because you love the views, the challenges, the camaraderie, the fun of mountain and forest adventures. Keep that enjoyment. Hike safe. It's your responsibility.